Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class entertainment, education, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the founder and president and chief listening officer here at our network, which is global. We are now in 60 plus countries, and it is an absolute delight and pleasure and honor to be here with you today for our show, which is the Mallorca Connection. And you may be thinking, Mallorca, what does that have to do with anything they're going to talk about today? Well, the star of our show, Mr. Roland Friedl, he actually lived on the beautiful island of Mallorca when I met him a number of years ago. And that's where he started doing his shows. And he's now done hundreds of episodes. He is an entrepreneur. He's a montrepreneur. He's obviously a television show host. And he is an author. He is someone who does extensive amounts of work advocating for men. And he's here today to help us figure out, what do we do when we have had a major crisis in our life? How do we restart? Let's welcome my dear friend to the program. Hello, Roland. How are you today?
Hello, Dr. JACALYN. Yeah, thank you. Great. And thanks for the amazing introduction. And hello to our audience. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So, Roland, why don't you give a little bit of background, especially to our new viewers, about your connection to Mallorca and why you chose the name The Mallorca Connection to be the name of this TV show.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, to make a long story short, I'm when I was 5 years old, I saw the first time the sea. I'm born and raised in Austria, beautiful country in the middle of Europe, but we don't have sea access. We lost it in World War I. And it was always my dream, sea. I don't know why, I love the sea. So I was 5 years or something like that. With my neighbors, I could go to the sea for 1 week, and I came back and it was a flash. And I said, well, one day I'm going to move to the seaside. My dad said, everyone, but not you. But anyway, so this was always a dream that drove me. And I went to school, I went to university, and my dream was going live on the seaside, and then, getting in the corporate world, starting my own businesses, becoming a father of 3 and stuff like that. And you're in this treadmill, and then I got, at the end of my relationship with the mother of my child, I was saying, what I really want in life. And so I decided to separate. I decided to go a new way, and I moved to the seaside. This was my dream. So I was looking where to go. I was thinking about, I love Asia, because, I've been traveling around the globe for business. I was thinking about Asia. I was thinking about the Caribbean side, or maybe to go to the Pacific side of Peru. So where to go? And I said, no, I'm going to stay in Europe, because I do a lot of trainings. I have to fly to my clients anyway, but I also do a lot of online stuff. And it's difficult when you have a lot of time differences, 6-9 hours, stuff like that. So where to go in Europe? And I was playing a lot of golf at the time, so I was looking for, I need a good place on the seaside. I need the option that I can fly every single day, because most places in the south of Europe, in the seaside, Mediterranean Sea, out of season, there are no airplanes going directly, so I need airplanes directly, can fly all over the world. I need golf courses. So I found Mallorca. It had at the time, I don't know, I left it 3 years ago. I've been there for 14 years. It has 22 or 23 golf courses. It's a golf paradise. It's beautiful. It has an amazing international airport. You can take direct flights every day, even to the US. So that's why I moved to Mallorca. It's on the seaside. It's warm there. It's nice there. I already spoke Spanish. And when we met Dr. JACALYN, there was the idea about, okay, what's the name of the show? What's the kind of topic? And I have a lot of experience in many, many stuffs because I'm eager to learn and to listen to other people. So I couldn't say exactly in what niche I fit in. So we called it the Mallorca Connection because I've been living in Mallorca at the time when we started. And the first interview guest, by the way, came from Mallorca too. That's the story. A little bit long, but I know that was the journey so far.
Well, I think the part that's really interesting, and this just goes to show your evolution, is when we met, you were living on that island, you were running yoga retreats, and now you're living a wireless life in a recreational vehicle that you've been driving around in for 3 years. So you left those roots, so to speak, and you are making new memories and creating a new journey for yourself. And as you've also shared, and I know this for a fact, you and I were doing a show together, I think it was the Mallorca Connection, and you were in your RV and someone knocked at your door, and when you went to answer and you spoke to them, and when you came onto the show, literally minutes later, they had stolen your Rolex watch right off your wrist.
Yeah, it happened. It happened 2 years ago in North Spain. Yeah, yes.
And you kept doing the show. I mean, you didn't say, "Oh, I can't do it. Someone stole my Rolex watch." Like, people might have a meltdown about that, and that's understandable. But you're like, "I got to go on with the show." And so I really admire that, because sometimes when we have a personal crisis, we decide that we're going to let everything go, and we don't put our energy maybe in places where it can actually help us. And one thing that I found for me, sometimes I feel a little down, or you're worried about this or that, is when I get on the air, I forget about all of that. So I feel like for certain personality types, it's a good idea to be out in the public domain, because you can't sit and think about, woe is me, or I'm a victim. You actually are thinking about, how can I help other people? What is the messaging that I can put out there?
Absolutely, it helps you when you stay in public, because you have to be in a good mood, yeah. But I also believe that when you have time to relax, that you really work on that and really sort it out and fix it, because otherwise you just suppress it and it comes up later. But yeah, actually, we had a short conversation about this when we had the show about sleeping, the Eat Your Health for Lifestyle about sleeping. I guess a positive mindset is very, very, very important. And I strongly believe, I also have faced challenges. People steal stuff, or a motorhome breaks down, or whatever, or relationship breaks, or a business goes down, or a client cancels, or whatever. I also face these issues. But I don't feel as a victim, or let's say I don't feel as a victim very long. It's a few seconds. Shit. And that's okay. How can I sort it out? How can I fix it? What I can do next steps. I'm very solution focused. I'm not problem focused. I'm very solution focused. And this helps me. I'm never asking about the why something happened or is doing to me. How can I fix it? And if I can fix it, okay, find something new. That's part of my mindset. It was not in the beginning, but I learned this and I trained this because I found out it doesn't make sense to worry. Not at all.
No, and you know what? You and I have discussed this before, but I think it's important. My dad and I used to play this. I'm going to say it's a little game, even though it's not really a game, but we would actually sit down together and write about all the things that we possibly think that were bad that could happen to us. And of course, my father passed away, and what he ended up passing away from, what he suffered with, was not on the list. And that's always the way. And you can throw out so many things, but the universe is the way the universe is. And I believe that our path has already been determined. So we can fight against it, or we can say, okay, I'm in this period of time that I'm not happy about. What can I do to move forward? And what are the solutions? And you just mentioned that. And, I had some business partners who took money from me, and it was an unpleasant experience. But the one thing I took away from it was, one of the partners said, get out of your emotions and look for the solution. And in every case, that is what I do. I allow myself literally 10 minutes for the boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, woe is me. Why is this happening? When is more money going to come? Like 10 minutes. And then I think, okay, what are the issues that you've identified? And then what are the steps that you can take to get to the resolution? And I see myself on the other side. I see myself without having the issues, being unencumbered with the issues and where it is I want to be. So that's the approach that I take. And by the way, it only took probably 58 years to get there. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just looking for a word to find a right word. Yeah, I mean, when something bad happens, business breaks down, somebody steals something from you, relationship breaks. This also means you lose something, whatever it is. And I guess we also feel sorrow, grief, and everybody has a different phases of grief, and runs or needs different time to go to these phases of grief. And I guess it's important to go through all these phases, but I think as quick as possible, and that's what I learned. And as I said, there can always things happen. I also feel sorrow, of course, but I go very fast through the stages. First of all, you're shocked. Then I try to accept it, and it is like the first thing is to give up resistance. Most people go in a resistance. They're still fighting. I said, it doesn't make sense. My Rolex is gone. Yeah, they're left in a fast car. It's gone. I cannot run behind them. It's gone. It doesn't make sense. Why should I stay in this state? Of course I felt sorrow because this was the first Rolex I bought with money I made cash. It was my first. I had it over 30 years. So it was more a personal stuff than the $13,000. But it's gone. I cannot change everything. So I went very fast through this phase. I was sad. I was shocked. I was sad. I was pissed off. I was pissed off that it happened to me because I heard about that people are stealing expensive watches from the wrist. I said, how can this happen? Because a Rolex is quite heavy, and it happened to me anyway. So I was really pissed off about myself. The anger was more about myself than the other person. I said, I cannot fix this. I'm okay. Nothing happened to me. I'm still alive. I'm still happy. If I want another one, I will buy one. So I go very fast through these phases. That's what I do. And I think this is so important that people learn, not suppress it, go through these phases of grief, of sorrow, but keep it as short as possible. That's my advice.
I love that because that's also in alignment with what I teach about setting boundaries. And, I've shared this story before, so I'll just keep it brief. But in another business situation, I hired a company that was vetted by another colleague, and I paid them to get me a book signing in London. I paid for 100 books to be published and distributed. And then when I was in London, I went to the bookstore and I didn't see any signage about the fact that I was doing a book signing in a few days. And I spoke to the manager, and they had never heard of this company. And the company never sent any emails or correspondence. And so I gave them grace, and I thought, you know what, I'll give them an opportunity to make it right. And they've not made it right. And not only have they not made it right, they've gone completely dark. And I think to myself, okay, I made a mistake by hiring them. I thought because they were vetted, it was somebody I could trust. And then I went on to a website where they actually have comments from people, and people said that it's a scam. So where I'm going with this is I gave them another chance, right? I put energy into that, giving them grace. And now I say to myself, will I put energy into negative opportunities of maybe a lawsuit or a legal some kind of legal ramifications? And I can't, because that's not who I am. But at the same time, I think, how can I let them get away with it? What if it happens to somebody else? So I'm sure there's all kinds of scenarios in life where people are torn between what is it that I should do. So for me, in my own body, to have peace, I have to let it go. And maybe that's how they keep getting away with these scams, is because people are leading with their heart. But I'm not looking at it for them. I'm looking at it for me. I don't want to put any money and time into going down some legal path. And then I believe the universe will come back and they will have to deal with what it is they've done. So that's the solution that I came up with. But that had to take a lot of control of my emotions, because when I was standing in that bookstore in London and I had the representative on the phone, and he's now talking to the manager of the bookstore, and he's telling the manager that they did send something, and the manager said, "Sir, do you have any confirmation that the author standing in front of me has been guaranteed a book signing in this bookstore, not only this week, but any week in the future?" And it was dead silence. And the person said, "No, I do not." And then I realized, wow, I put it out into the domain. They were doing social media marketing, letting everyone know that there was a book signing coming. But I had to take a step back. And so now, after giving them another opportunity, I have to say, that's it. So I have prevented them from doing anything on my social media. And I sent them an email that we were no longer going to be working together, having any correspondence. And so that's what I have to do to set a boundary. People might say that's stupid, that I should sue them.
Absolutely. I think the same like you, Dr. JACALYN, because, some things we can control and something we can't control. And I think, again, some things we try to influence. And I believe the same, that most of the time it doesn't make sense to fight, to go in resistance and fight. What is gone is gone. And I'm the same. It's not about giving up. It's just, clearing all arguments. Does it make sense to fight? Yes or no? Does it make sense to put more energy into it? And yes, and winning it or not? And when I don't have 100% go, I let it go. I let it go. I remember, when I was very young, I had a very, very bad accident. I was a runner. I was running like crazy marathons, stuff like that. And then a drunk guy hit me with 50 miles, unbreakable. So I'm still happy that I'm alive. He hit me on the road, and the loss. And I was 6 months in hospital and all this stuff to recover and stuff. And I still have a damage in my ear, so I cannot hear well on my right side. But anyway, and some things are broken and stuff like that. And so, of course, it was court, and we always met at the court again and again, and he had a good lawyer. My lawyer was really bad. He had a good lawyer, and there was a lot of fraud going on because I found out that my lawyer was involved with the company. This guy was working like that, so it was a big fraud. And after 3 sessions on court, I guess after 2 years, I said, "Stop. I don't want it. I don't want the money. I don't want anything. I give up because I want to make peace. I want to make peace and forget it, because it's always in my mind. Your body is also damaged, but I don't want to have it in my mind again and again and again. I'm thinking about what I can do at the court and being another. I want to get rid of it, say goodbye. I'm still alive. I'm still alive, and let it go. And the same was with my Rolex. So if something is gone, for me, it doesn't make sense to fight. But if it's clear to fight, so I ask a lawyer can we win it 100%, I go for it. If not, I not. And the same like for the Swiss company I was working last year, this camping company, who didn't pay me my expenses and nothing, a big fraud. I didn't fight in court because I said maybe they don't have any money, doesn't make sense. So I focus on new things. That's my strategy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like that. And I think somebody has said to me, maybe it was you, but money, currency, it's an energy, and it comes and it goes. And I found many times doing coaching, and maybe you have as well, that money is the central issue for a number of people, that if only they had more money, they would do this and do that. So they don't actually put themselves out there to new opportunities because they can't afford it. They don't have the money to do it. But yet what they don't realize is if you made the effort to do something new, to try something new, it's possible that would lead to more money. But people don't see it that way. And to your point that you just mentioned about the Rolex, or what I just mentioned about the scam, and you mentioned scams. So that's money that came and it went. And if we put any time into it other than what we have, then it will be pulling us back. Which brings me to our next topic about restarting after a personal crisis. I've heard this from so many people. Something happens in their life, and then their loved ones, their family, they'll say, well, do you remember when you were 5 years old, this happened, that happened, and I told you then that you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And I think to myself, what does that have to do with anything? But many people will go back into the past and pull something out of the past and say, I knew this was going to happen to you because you were doing X, Y, and Z in the past.
Yeah, this finger pointing. Yeah, you know, some people always need the feeling that they are better than you. You have been, you have made a mistake. You're dumb. You didn't listen to me. I know better. Yeah, I give a shit on that. I guess, and I'm the same. I never, I never tell, I don't know, my girlfriend or my kids if they made a mistake. I told you, because it doesn't. It's just it would be for my ego, but it doesn't help them out of the situation. As I said in the beginning, I'm a solution guy. I'm okay. Let's fix it. Can I help you? If you want me to help me, okay, let's fix it. Yeah, but this is this ego stuff. Some people need it for their own ego to feel better. Yeah, I give a shit. I don't listen to it. That's where it's about setting boundaries. Yeah, no, thank you. And by the way, I don't listen to a feedback I hadn't asked to, and I would never give a feedback to someone without asking for permission.
Thank you for sharing that. That is huge. When people just launch into giving feedback and nobody asked for it. I want to share something that I hope will help people. You know that I do a workout called Solid Core. And by the way, not a paid spokesperson, not a hired brand ambassador, just someone who absolutely believes in the results. And this is their motto that they have under their machines or on the wall: stronger than you think. And that's what I want to remind people, is that you are stronger than you think, that when your body wants to give out, you have the ability to mentally will yourself to go on. And even though you might not see any results right away, if you keep telling yourself, I am okay, I am succeeding, whatever it is, I am. In fact, a friend of mine who's very religious talks about I am in the Bible. I think that really makes a big difference. So what are your thoughts on saying to yourself, I will try versus I am?
I'm not trying, I'm doing. And because my own experience is that we don't use 100% of our capability of our brain, and we don't use 100% of our capability of our physics and of our, sorry about my motivation. I know that we can do much more. And sometimes I also do crazy stuff, when I'm running marathons. For example, when I talked about this accident I had, when this car killed me almost, I came out after 6 months of hospital, and 2 weeks later I was running a half marathon just to think, okay, if I can do it. And then I was running a marathon with a lot of pain just with my head. And then I was running a second marathon because before the accident I told a friend of mine, I run with you, because he asked me, it was his first marathon. I know that we can do a lot of stuff. Some people say this is crazy. No, it's just we can really push our comfort zone. Absolutely. And that's what we should do. Push it, to push your comfort zones further and further. Because we can do much more than we think about it. 100%, Dr. JACALYN, 100%.
Thank you, Roland. And I'm so glad that you were okay. And by the way, not that only that you were okay, but you were thriving after that. And it reminds me of a story, which I don't think I've shared, but I think it was in 2018 or 2019 with the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. I had a team, I think it was called Team Champions or something. And I went out to Las Vegas, and I was going to be part of this team, and we were going to be running because we're raising money for this run. So I never actually did an official race before. And I think it was basically 5 miles. And so I had really been struggling with ulcerative colitis. And I said to myself, like on the plane ride over, I was saying to myself, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to get sick. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. And that morning I really had, like, I was so far into my, you can't do this. You can't do this. You're just going to walk. You're not going to run. You're just going to walk. And the craziest thing happened as I was headed out to the race. You had to walk like a mile, I think, to get there, half a mile. I lost my team members, and I ended up falling in line with this woman. I did not know who she was. And she told me that she had recently gotten out of the hospital. She had to be operated on. Everyone there was pretty much Crohn's and colitis, And so she had really been struggling, and she had a surgery, and she was going to be running. And I thought, oh my gosh, she got out of the hospital. She's running. And I'm just sitting here going on and on. So we decided that we would start together. You know, they have those big arches and everybody starts at a different time. And anyway, it was amazing because I actually started running. And not only that, I was like empowered. I was really running. And I finished, I believe, first or second in my age category. And so what went from, I'm not going to do this, I can't do this, I'm going to walk, went to not only did I not walk, I ran and I placed.
100%. 100%. Absolutely 100%.
It's all up here.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do it. And you know, when I did this 2 marathons and a half marathon after my hospital, but I don't run anymore because the doctors afterwards said it's cool what you're doing, but it doesn't make sense anymore. So I walk my dog and do hiking stuff. I'm not running anymore. But anyway, but what motivated me at the time was I always was, and I'm still am, a huge fan of Muhammad Ali. Ali, for this boxer, this was I don't know, he's a role model. And I don't know if it's true or not, but there was this conversation, maybe it's a myth or maybe it's real, I don't know, between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Muhammad Ali. And Arnold Schwarzenegger asked Ali, Schwarzenegger was always working out very, very hard. You know, he came to the US very young, nothing, no money. His dream was becoming a bodybuilding world champion and then building up companies and stuff like that, becoming governor of California. So a very driven person. And he asked Ali many, many years ago, how many push-ups are you doing? And they said, I have no idea because I start counting when it hurts, when the pain comes in. And this motivated me. Sorry. When I came out of the hospital, I said, okay, I run. If it's pain, I run. I can do it. And I always think about Ali, you know, I start counting when the pain comes in. And it's working.
That's fantastic. I love that you shared that. And I have something to add to that as well. So this weekend I was taking solid core classes, and the one yesterday seemed to be a lot harder. And by the way, they're as hard or as easy as you make them, but your body is shaking if you're getting to 2nd degree muscle failure. And that's the whole purpose of it. And I looked around the room before I came in and I assessed the fact that I was definitely at least 35 years older than almost every person in there. Maybe one person was 20 years young, but I was way older than every single person in there. And we do one section, there's a core section, then there's obliques, and then there's a lower body and an upper body. And so the obliques never gets any easier. And so when I was doing it, I always do it on my elbows and my toes. Some people are on their elbows and their knees, and it hurts. And I say to myself, like, you're shaking, you're sweating, you have to keep your hips up so you're not dipping in the plank position. And I said to myself, it hurts for now, but soon it will be over. And I don't know, it could be 3 minutes, could be 5. It seems like it's forever. But that's what I say to myself anytime, especially if I'm working out. This pain is temporary. Now, if you're doing something that you really are ripping your shoulder apart with, that's a different story. But we can get through things and they make us stronger. And so therefore, to me, when I finished, I think 1,071 classes yesterday, and the people there, it's a new studio. So the most they could have done if they opened in May, June, July, August, maybe is if they went every single day, 100 classes. And most people are not going every day. But so the point is, I always feel like I'm a role model because I've done so many classes. So to make it easy on myself, because I don't want the pain, what's the point of going? I want to make it harder every time because then I get stronger.
Absolutely, Dr. JACALYN. And you know what? Maybe our audience may think about it. Hey, the topic is how to restart after personal crisis, and they're talking about physical challenge. But that's the same thing. That's the same thing. A personal crisis is painful. Whatever happens, you get sick, you lose your job, you lose a relationship, you lose a house, whatever happens, it's painful. But the question is, you are in a victim role, or you say, no, hey, let's get it harder. Is this everything you can do to me? Let's get harder. I know people who have cancer and the doctors told them 2 months to live and they go for it. I have friends who are, after a motorcycle accident, they're in a wheelchair. They're very successful businessmen. So I think that's, I don't know if you think the same like me, Dr. JACALYN, but that's the same thing. What the examples we brought from the fitness industry, what we do is the same as in a personal crisis. It's the same. We can stand much more than we believe. And the question is, we are giving up, or we just make a short break, breathe, relax, and we said, okay, let's fix it, whatever it is. And I think that's the main difference. What do you think?
I agree with you, because crisis can mean a lot of things, different things to people. But again, I feel like unless it's a death, it's temporary. And that whatever the situation is, we're meant to learn something from the situation. And how can we take our learnings and move forward to get to where we want to be? And I think you and I both feel this way. These are containers, right? These are containers that we have, and we're here to do certain things while we're on this planet. And so as the container changes, you and I are in our 60s. Of course, I'm older. I always have to say that. But, the container doesn't look the same that it used to look, right? The container changes. And I used to be really upset about it. Well, I didn't know that this was going to happen and that was going to happen. Well, at some point, you have to embrace yourself and say, you know what? This is not a personal crisis. This is life. This is, if you're here long enough, then this is the deal. And for me, I've decided to let go of getting the Botox and the fillers and all those things. And I know if I got them, I'd look better, I'd feel more rested. But I think I've put them in my body for so long, and Botox really it's poison. I think it's supposed to paralyze the muscles. So why would I want to keep doing this? That's not a crisis. That's just deal with the fact that you're getting older.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I strongly believe that whatever personal crisis, whatever it is, and I don't want to hurt somebody, any one of our audience. I know some people go really dark shit, and I went to dark shit. I lost my brother very early, and many other things happened. I was sexually abused over many years as a kid, and strong stuff. But I think it was for a reason, and it made me the person I am right now. Maybe I would be a softer person or a less successful person if it not happened to me. I don't know. But I strongly believe that we should use every crisis as, I wouldn't say as, sometimes it can be a total restart with the shit. Everything lost, business lost, relationship lost, restart. What's next? Hopefully not doing the same stuff again that brings us in the same in the same trap. I had many crises in my life, and when I look back, I said, thanks Lord that it happened to me, because otherwise my direction, my journey would be totally different. So I'm happy for everything that happened to me. It sounds weird maybe for some people, but I went to many crises, and it made me the person I am. I live this free lifestyle. I'm not scared. I take self-responsibility for my life. I live as healthy as I can. My main goal is to support other people to reach their goals, to have a successful, fulfilled life. And I think if all this things that happened in the past wouldn't have happened, I think maybe I would be like all my other friends, doing just a 9-to-5 job in a corporate world, live in a suburban area of a town, in a house with a garden, a dog and everything around, and going 9-to-5 to work. On the weekends, having some beer with friends and barbecue, and maybe going 2 weeks on vacation. But that's not the life I want. And I think I made a total different direction than my parents and all my families around me. I am very grateful what happened to my life. It sounds weird a little bit, because some stuff was really deep and bad and very painful. But I'm so happy for the circumstances I'm in and for the person I am, to be honest.
Thank you so much for your transparency, for sharing that, Roland. I think that's so important, because we are who we are because of the journey that we've taken. And I know for me, having ulcerative colitis for, I think, 35 years, I really, at some point, I thought I can't live like this anymore. And then I met the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, and I got involved in volunteering, and now I'm on the board, et cetera. And I feel like I was meant to be in this position so that I can motivate other people, so that I can say, listen, you can have a full and happy life, and you can do it because I'm doing it. But at the same time, to what you said, I'm not the kind of person who is interested in, hey, let's watch TV for 8 hours. Let's go sit on the beach for 6 hours. I have things I want to accomplish. And at the same time, I'm doing self-care, but I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, because I think after you're 55, at least in the States, you're supposed to retire. You're supposed to play golf and do this and do that. And I've played golf. I have no interest in playing golf again. Sorry, golfers. I don't want to spend 8 hours doing something, because I'm missing out on all the creative things I can be doing. And so I honor everyone out there who loves to play golf. I'm just saying it's just not for me.
That's interesting. Some years ago, when I've been living on Mallorca, some friends of mine told me, "Hey, Ron, you make good business. When you're going to retire? You're going to retire earlier?" I said, "No." And I said, how long do you want to work? And I said, as long as it can get up the gangway to the airplane to see my clients, and it doesn't look really bad. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work. I don't think about retiring, because I love what I'm doing. Same like you, I love what I'm doing. I want to accomplish things, and I think it's for me, it's an honor and a real gift when you stay healthy and fit, and you have something really, you found a purpose that you really drives you in the morning to get up, and you can't wait to do what you're doing. I think this is a real gift that most people never had in their life and never experience. And this is a gift for us, and we don't think about retirement. No, absolutely not. Maybe do a little bit less, maybe a little bit slower, because we are wiser, we're more experienced. Maybe doing less mistakes and stuff like that. Maybe we do less rounds for the same things. But yeah, it's a gift. For me, it's a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah,
100%.
it is. And it's a gift that we're here today. And it's a gift that we have people watching us on the live or listening to us or on the replay. We are truly blessed in that way. So, Roland, we're coming to the end of the show, and you're going to be starting something new in September. Would you like to talk a little bit about it for our audience?
Yes, sure. We're gonna start German-speaking shows, myself, but other people too. And the idea came up when I did some interviews on the Mallorca Connection on this channel here, on this show, and some interview guests said, "Hey, Roland, I don't feel comfortable in English. Can you do it in my mother language, in German?" And my mother language is German too. So we started, and then we had a conversation, Dr. JACALYN and myself, and I said, "Okay, why don't we offer German-speaking shows?" And I've been working on a concept, and then one and one came the next step and next step and next step. And I'm very proud to be part of this Juice Plus family, about the USA Global TV and Radio family. About 4 years doing hundreds of shows, and I guess now it's time for the next step to bring other shows, German-speaking shows. Some of my friends will join in fall to do their own shows with different interesting topics in German. I will start a show together with an amazing lady. It's called the Encourager Show, the Mutmacher Show. We want to give hope and inspiration, encourage people to find their own way, to find their purpose, what we've been talking about the last minutes, having a purpose that drives you. That's going to be my show, and we are starting mid of September. I know that a colleague started with a French show, very, very successful. There will be other languages too. So, ladies and gentlemen, to make a long story short, if you get inspired by our conversation, and I said, "Hey, how cool is it running my own weekly show?" And you just find it cool, and maybe you're a little bit scared because you have no idea how it's working. I can tell you, I started my first show about no idea. I have never been a TV speaker or on a radio show, never again. I had no idea. And I can tell you, my first show, I was sitting in Mallorca at this house on my task. I was so nervous. I had a lot of coffee in front of me. I had another dog, Abayomi, the Richwick. He was snoring so loud beside me. I said, "Oh my gosh, hopefully we cannot hear it." By the way, we didn't hear it. So I was so nervous. And like we had a conversation today, by doing it step by step, I became better and better. I I really enjoyed it. Absolutely not nervous anymore, and I just love it. And I learned so much about myself, about moderating, hosting, about listening to people. Anyway, very, very important. And so if you have a clue, this could be cool, but I have no idea. You don't need any experience. We help you to run your own weekly show in your mother language. I say, hey, contact us. I'm more than happy to support you.
Thank you, Roland. How do people contact you?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I forgot that. The best way is send me an email. It's office@mynamerolandfriedl.com. I will spell it for you guys. It's office@ROLANDFRIEDL.com. Roland Friedl.com. Send me an email, and then we set up a call, and then we find a solution to get your own show done. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, my friend. Well, we are out of time for today, and our next show is coming up. It's Talking Heads. So we're going to say goodbye to you for now. And we just ask if you can please subscribe to our channels on our network. Go over to YouTube, go to USA Global TV and Radio, or Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, which will soon be Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the listening mentor. All right. Auf Wiedersehen. Adios. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.